Guardians of the North unveiling Canada's silent protector. In the vast expanse of Canada, a silent guardian stands watch, protecting its citizens. This is the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, the nation's primary intelligence agency. Operating largely in the shadows, CSIS plays a vital role in keeping Canadians safe. Its work often goes unnoticed, but its importance cannot be overstated. CSIS is responsible for collecting, analyzing, and reporting on intelligence. This includes threats from terrorism, espionage, and cyber attacks. The agency's work is essential in today's complex security environment. CSIS's intelligence helps to inform government decision-making. The agency operates under strict oversight and accountability mechanisms. CSIS is accountable to Parliament through the Minister of Public Safety. The agency's activities are reviewed by an independent watchdog. Join us as we uncover the secrets of this enigmatic organization. A legacy forged from RCMP shadows to CSIS autonomy. The roots of CSIS can be traced back to the aftermath of World War II. In 1946, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police established a security service to counter Soviet espionage during the Cold War. This marked the beginning of organized intelligence gathering in Canada. However, the RCMP security service faced growing criticism over its methods and accountability. Concerns arose about its involvement in domestic surveillance and potential overreach. This led to calls for a separate civilian-led intelligence agency. In 1984, following years of debate and a public inquiry, the Canadian government created CSIS. The creation of CSIS marked a turning point in Canadian intelligence gathering. It separated the intelligence function from law enforcement, aiming to create a more focused and accountable organization. CSIS was given a clear mandate to investigate and report on threats to Canada's security, but without the power to make arrests. This separation aimed to ensure that intelligence gathering was conducted within the bounds of the law and with respect for civil liberties. Pillars of protection, counterintelligence, terrorism, and the cyber realm. CSIS's core functions revolve around identifying, investigating, and mitigating threats to Canada's national security. These threats are diverse and constantly evolving, requiring CSIS to be adaptable and innovative in its approach. Counterintelligence remains a cornerstone of CSIS's activities. This involves identifying and disrupting the activities of foreign intelligence services operating within Canada. CSIS works to protect Canada's secrets from espionage and foreign interference. The rise of global terrorism has placed a significant emphasis on counter-terrorism efforts. CSIS works to identify, track, and disrupt terrorist threats both domestically and internationally. This includes monitoring individuals and groups suspected of engaging in terrorist activities. In an increasingly interconnected world, cybersecurity has emerged as a critical national security concern. CSIS plays a vital role in protecting Canada's critical infrastructure and government networks from cyber attacks. This includes working with private sector partners to enhance cybersecurity measures. Operation Sidewinder: Unmasking the Dragon's Reach. One of CSIS's most impactful operations, Operation Sidewinder, brought to light the extent of Chinese espionage activities in Canada. This operation, which unfolded in the 1990s, revealed a sophisticated network of Chinese agents operating within Canada's borders. CSIS's investigation uncovered evidence of Chinese intelligence operatives targeting Canadian government officials, businesses, and members of the Chinese diaspora. The operation exposed attempts to steal sensitive technology, influence Canadian policy, and silence dissenting voices within the Chinese community. Operation Sidewinder sent shockwaves through Canada's political and intelligence communities. It highlighted the growing threat posed by Chinese espionage and the need for increased vigilance. The revelations from Operation Sidewinder led to diplomatic tensions between Canada and China. The Canadian government expelled several Chinese diplomats suspected of involvement in espionage activities. The operation served as a wake-up call, prompting Canada to strengthen its counterintelligence efforts and raise awareness about foreign interference. Section 5. The Air India Tragedy: A Nation Wounded, a Service Tested. The bombing of Air India Flight 182 in 1985 remains the deadliest act of terrorism in Canadian history. This horrific event, which claimed the lives of 329 people, including many Canadians, exposed significant intelligence failures and tested CSIS's capabilities. CSIS faced criticism in the aftermath of the bombing for not doing enough to prevent the attack. Investigations revealed that CSIS had received intelligence suggesting a potential attack on an Air India flight but failed to share this information effectively with other agencies. The Air India tragedy led to a Royal Commission of Inquiry, which examined the events leading up to the bombing and the role of Canadian intelligence agencies. The Commission's report highlighted shortcomings in intelligence sharing, coordination, and accountability. The lessons learned from the Air India tragedy had a profound impact on CSIS. The agency implemented significant reforms to improve intelligence sharing, enhance its counter-terrorism capabilities, and strengthen its accountability mechanisms. The tragedy serves as a stark reminder of the high stakes involved in intelligence work and the devastating consequences of failure. Section 6. Global Partnerships, Weaving the Web of Intelligence Sharing. In an interconnected world, no intelligence agency can operate in isolation. CSIS recognizes the importance of international cooperation and maintains close relationships with intelligence agencies around the world. These partnerships are essential for sharing intelligence, coordinating operations, and addressing transnational threats. CSIS works with its counterparts to track terrorist networks, disrupt espionage activities, and combat organized crime. CSIS's closest intelligence partnerships are with the Five Eyes Alliance, which includes Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the United States. This long-standing alliance, dating back to World War II, is based on a shared commitment to intelligence sharing and collective security. Beyond the Five Eyes, CSIS maintains relationships with a wide range of countries, including key allies in Europe, Asia, and elsewhere. The agency's international partnerships are crucial for extending its reach, enhancing its understanding of global threats, and protecting Canada's interests abroad. Section 7. The Five Eyes Alliance, a brotherhood of secrets, a cornerstone of Western intelligence gathering, sharing sensitive intelligence, coordinating operations, and pooling resources. Traced back to World War II, decrypting enemy communications. Expanded to include Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Operates under trust and shared values. Invaluable in targeting terrorism, espionage, and other threats. A vital role in safeguarding the security of its member countries. Section 8. Controversies and criticisms, navigating the shadows of accountability. Operating in the shadows invites scrutiny, and CSIS has faced controversy. Concerns about privacy, accountability, and potential overreach are common. Critics argue for greater transparency to ensure CSIS respects civil liberties. The agency's broad mandate raises questions about surveillance and individual rights. Balancing security with individual rights is an ongoing challenge for CSIS. Section 9. The Maher Arar Affair, a stain on Canada's reputation. The Maher Arar Affair stands as a dark chapter in CSIS's history, raising serious questions about the agency's conduct. This case involved a Canadian citizen, Maher Arar, who was wrongly accused of terrorism and deported to Syria, where he was tortured. Arar's ordeal began in 2002 when he was detained by U.S. authorities during a layover in New York. Based on flawed intelligence, U.S. authorities suspected Arar of having links to Al-Qaeda. CSIS was accused of providing information that contributed to Arar's detention. Arar was held in solitary confinement in a Syrian prison for nearly a year, where he was subjected to torture. He was eventually released without charge and returned to Canada in 2003. A subsequent inquiry concluded that CSIS had provided inaccurate information. The Arar affair shook public trust in CSIS and prompted calls for greater accountability. The Canadian government issued a formal apology to Arar and paid him millions of dollars in compensation. The case served as a stark reminder of the importance of accuracy and respect for human rights in intelligence gathering. Section 10. Balancing Act, Security and Freedom in the Digital Age. The digital age has brought opportunities and challenges for CSIS. Technology aids intelligence but raises privacy concerns. Social media and encrypted communications create vast data. This raises questions about CSIS's surveillance scope and privacy safeguards. CSIS needs data access to identify and disrupt threats. Critics argue for balancing access with privacy and civil liberties. Striking this balance is a pressing challenge for CSIS. CSIS operates under a legal framework with oversight. Rapid technological change challenges oversight effectiveness. CSIS must adapt to balance security and freedom in the digital age. Section 11. An enduring legacy, CSIS in the 21st century and beyond. As Canada navigates the complexities of the 21st century, CSIS continues to play a vital role in safeguarding the nation's security. The agency faces a constantly evolving threat landscape, from terrorism and espionage to cyber attacks and foreign interference. CSIS has learned from its past mistakes and implemented reforms to strengthen its accountability and improve its practices. However, the agency continues to face challenges, particularly in balancing the need for security with the protection of privacy and civil liberties. The future of CSIS will be shaped by technological advancements, geopolitical shifts, and the evolving nature of threats. The agency will need to adapt to these changes while remaining true to its core values of integrity, respect for the law, and commitment to protecting Canada and its citizens. CSIS's work is often unseen and unheralded, but it is essential to the safety and security of Canadians. As the world becomes increasingly complex and interconnected, the role of intelligence agencies like CSIS will only become more critical. CSIS's success will depend on its ability to adapt to new challenges, maintain public trust, and uphold the values that define Canada as a nation.